Hello, airmen and women, air people. Yakko Warner here, disguised as a very old man from Detroit, Michigan, but a huge supporter of the military. Look, who are we kidding? We know that the Air Force is the baddest of asses, okay? Yeah, we know that. So, before we begin with your fantastic questions, I should like to regale you all with a little song that's very important to me and probably is to you. Sing with me, and if you can't and you don't know the lyrics, shame on you. Off we go into the wild blue yonder, climbing high into the sun. Bum. Here they come, zooming to meet our thunder. Atom boys and girls, give her the gun now. Down we dive, spouting our flame from under. Off with one hell of a roar. We live in fame or go down in flame. Hey, nothing will stop the U.S. Air Force. Not bad for an old Animaniac. Thanks, you guys. I'll be right back with your questions. It's going to be fun. Now then, down to business. Firstly, folks, let me just say, from the bottom of my pink little heart, firstly, Narv. There we go. Look what happens to you. Isn't that lovely? You're smiling. Now, it may be gas. Doesn't matter. I choose to believe it's smiling. Honestly, this is such a privilege that my friend Joe Dyson has offered me. I'm just beyond thrilled to have this opportunity. It is nothing short, as I mentioned, of a privilege. My dad was a military man for 20-odd years. My partner, Randy Rogel, who wrote United States, Canada, Mexico, Panama, Haiti, Jamaica, Peru, is a West Point grad. And so I'm all about the military. As they say, I am not a superhero. I occasionally play them on TV, but you guys are the real deal. I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but it just can't be said enough. So thank you very much for letting me in and for doing this Comic-Con. This is fantastic. Decon, really great. We have some wonderful questions that Joe put together for me, and I'd like to answer them now. And I wish that I could do this in real time, but we're in the middle of COVID Con, obviously. But one of these days, we're going to make this happen. So anyway, here we go. First question, have you participated in Comic-Con events virtually this year? I have. What is it like for a voice actor during COVID? Well, here I am participating with you guys, gratefully. What it's like is actually a little bit different in that I don't go to the studio every day, and I don't like that. I'm an old dog, man. I love being with the other actors. When you're surrounded by people like Frank Welker and Tress MacNeille and Nancy Cartwright and my friend the Brian Maurice LaMarche and all those other people, it's just way better because a high tide raises all boats. They make me a better actor. However, the cool thing about my gig, apart from the fact that nobody cares what I look like, who knew that the voice of your childhood is old enough to be your great-great-great-great-grandfather? I don't know. It's weird, huh? You should see it from my side. The cool thing is, not only do people not care what I look like, I can work from home. We've been doing a bunch of new episodes of Animaniacs and Pinky and the Brain for Hulu, coming on November 20th. So like a month and a half to Hulu. And I'm recording them from home. I hope this goes away soon because I hope we get picked up as well, and I'd prefer to be around the other actors. So that's what it's like. We have seen that you have been very active with our troops. What draws you to perform for them? Well, thank you for noticing. Jesus almighty, how could I not? I mean, come on, you guys, you're the best of us. And clearly, in this day and age, I want to make sure that I'm clear. When I say you guys, you know that I mean you guys and girls. I'm Yakko, and I'm tongue-tied. I don't really know how to quantify what your dedication means to me and millions of us, all of us. Man, I remember having a draft. I was just at the very tail end of the draft when I signed up for the draft. And we haven't had a draft, since the mid-'70s? Something like that, maybe the early '80s? It's a volunteer army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard. You people are the best of us. You choose to do what you do. Are you kidding me? The question pretty much answers itself. So thank you. You are way better humans than I. And I got no problem saying that. I'm proud beyond measure to have anything to do with making you guys smile. Nerve. What draws you to perform for them? Again, all of the above. In the grandest tradition of Bob Hope and Anne Margaret and Chris Stapleton and you name it, everybody, all the people that that I grew up watching on TV, I find myself in this glorious position now of, like our friend Joe Dyson. He said, hey, Rob, you want to do, are you kidding me? Couldn't say yes fast enough. And as I said, when this is over and we can come to Mildenhall and Ramstein and wherever we're lucky enough to be sent. Randy, as I said, my partner Randy, who wrote a lot of Animaniacs songs in the West Point grad, we can't wait to come. So try and stop us. That's a better question. We have several troops interested in becoming voice actors. Cool. What advice do you have? Well, first of all, you guys, it's voice acting. That is small v, large A. My background is, like pretty much all of us, Nancy Cartwright, who's Bart Simpson, Danny Castellaneta, who's Homer, Maurice LaMarche, The Brain, stand-up, Tress MacNeille, Dot, Babs Bunny, you name it, Groundlings. We all have stand-up, music, live theater, improv backgrounds, with very few exceptions. So for me, it's about acting, whether it's with your voice, your face, whatever. Now, of course, with video games, there's also a lot of motion capture. Guys like Nolan North, the voice of Nathan Drake in Uncharted. Wonderful actor. He did soap operas and stand-up before he got into voice work and motion capture stuff. Troy Baker, Jen Hale, Commander Shepard. These folks are becoming rock stars. It's acting, pure and simple. So if you're interested in voice acting, work on your acting chops. That's the best advice I can have. Improv is huge because it really helps you think on your feet, and it will serve you well, whether you end up being a performer or not. Anytime you have to speak extemporaneously, having those improv chops and being able to think on your feet and not get freaked out is a really helpful arrow in your quiver, so to speak. Since my time voicing Raphael, how about that? Raphael, when most of you weren't even born, and Donatello on the 2012 Nickelodeon version, how has the voice acting field changed? What do you expect to see in the next few years? Well, from my point of view, it really hasn't changed because the process by which I create voices has never changed, or characters, I should say. The voices really come out of, sounds a little bit fancy schmancy, but it's true. The voices come out of the soul of the character. When I do movies, TV, stage, I try to find aspects of the character's soul, their ethos, what makes them tick, how they react with other characters in the story. And that's kind of where the voice comes from. It can go backwards too. I can create a voice. I could come up with something a little bit weird. It's kind of a mouth breather. Maybe it was a lousy boxer years ago. Try to come up with something weird, but I could improvise all day long. And as long as I'm consistent with what I'm saying, I could create a voice later, even though it's a little bit disgusting. You see my point. It's changed technically. We don't use tape anymore. Everything is digital, of course. But my process hasn't changed a bit. What do I expect to see in the next few years? Well, I don't, pardon me while I get some water. I don't really expect to see anything changing from my side that I can think of, unless, of course, they actually create virtual actors who can think and act like Rob Paulsen or Billy West or Frank Welker. And I used to say, come on, they can never replace people who can think. I don't say that so much anymore. So hopefully I'll be retired by the time that happens, but maybe that'll happen. Your guess is as good as mine. And a lot of you folks who are in the military and work in AI and internet stuff or technical stuff, you probably know better than I do. So maybe you could tell me. What is my favorite voice to do? It may not be the most popular, but why is it my favorite and why? The next one means I'm working. You got to learn to love the hustle, kids. To those of you who may be interested in pursuing a career after your stint in the service, after being real heroes, I'm not famous. I appreciate the fact that I have cultivated a certain amount of celebrity that enables me to do this. But look, let's face it, it's the characters who are famous. I don't draw them. I don't write them. But the voice really sticks with you, doesn't it? I know, because when I do this, some of you go, and some of you even start to cry. It's weird. I love it, though. So really, the next voice, because it means I'm working. And my point was that when you do decide to pursue this, especially if it's for money, you got to learn to love the process, love the hustle, love the auditioning process, being around other actors, training, learning. I still work on stuff every freaking day because the Jones that inspires me to create stuff for new shows at 64 is the same as it was at 14. I promise you, that has not changed at all. I've been rich and I've been poor. Rich is way better. Even I know that. But the reason for creating has never changed. And I think that's a big, important part of the issue. But if I had to pick one that I've already done, well, that's a tough one. Look, I've had 2 rides in a turtle van. Are you kidding me? That in itself, for most actors, would be glorious. Ninja Turtles, for God's sake. Some of you maybe already have your Ninja Turtle t-shirt. That's crazy. Stuff in your barracks. I mean, who knows? I love Pinky and the Brain because of my friend Maurice LaMarche. He is a profoundly gifted actor and one of the nicest humans who's ever drawn a breath. You guys would love my friend the Brain. And of course, I love Animaniacs, again, because of the actors, but also because I get to sing United States, Canada, Mexico, Panama, Haiti, Jamaica, Peru. And we're doing it again with Mr. Spielberg. You know, the king of Hollywood. I get another shot at that. 25 years later, I've won the lottery, kids. Pretty tough. But I have to say that the one character that seems to get the biggest reaction from younger kids on TikTok, which skews pretty young, and people even older than I, is Carl. For some reason, they really love Carl and his llamas. So, hey man, if that's what floats your boat, I'm in. Go figure. We have a lot of people away from their families. I know. How did you cope when you moved away from Michigan to California? Hang on a second while I get some water. Well, that's a great question because I can't imagine how difficult it is, especially for those of you who have been deployed in combat zones. I remember years ago, I was at a Comic-Con in Australia. And I, crossed the international date line as a 23-hour flight. And I recall walking around in Melbourne, just getting my bearings. It was summertime down there, hot, humid. And Southeast Asia, as you know, is kind of just northeast. And being a child at the very end of the Vietnam War era, all I could think about, really seriously, I mean, it took me 2 days to get my bearings. All I could think about was young men and women who were deployed from, say, Camp Pendleton, wherever, Camp Lejeune, sent to Vietnam, and 24 hours later in a jungle with people shooting at you. I hesitate to get, or to sound like a downer, but that affected me deeply. And so that leads me to the answer of this question. I cannot imagine, you guys, how difficult that must be for you. Because remember, even though you chose to be in the military for which I'll be eternally grateful. I chose to be an actor. Ain't nobody ever going to shoot at me unless I really suck, which might still happen. But I'll tell you, you know what I did? I had already been on my own for a few years doing live theater around the United States and Canada and Mexico, Panama, Haiti. Happens. So I'd been on the road with other people and kind of learned how to deal with it. By the time I moved to LA, I was 22 years old, and I'd had 3 years of live music and theater experience on the road. So I was fairly used to living in a van and, you know, being on the road, sleeping in churches and hotels and stuff. But I still remember my sweet mom, when I packed up my little Honda in Grand Blanc, Michigan, she was standing on the porch in her chenille bathrobe, crying. I'm the oldest child. Drove out to California. But when I moved here, I immediately surrounded myself with people of a like mind. I didn't know anybody, but it's Hollywood. Just, you know, look through the phone book. Phone book, Phonebook. And magazines. You remember those? And find acting classes, workshops, actor support groups, all that stuff. That's what I did. And it really helped to find my tribe, as it were. That was a big deal. And I still have friends to this day. My friend Tress McNeil, Dot Warner, I've known Tress since 1979, since she was a cocktail waitress at Charlie Brown's restaurant in Marina del Rey. She is now, look at her IMDb page, the most prolific voice actress in the history of Hollywood. And she's one of my best 5 friends in the world. It's really wonderful to have watched her star rise and be right next to her. So really takes a lot of the sadness off when you get to surround yourself with people like Tress and Phil Hartman and Lorraine Newman and Paul Rubens as Pee Wee Herman. Those make the sadness go away pretty quick. So I'm pretty fortunate. Typical voice acting workday. Well, firstly, if I'm lucky enough to have a job, it starts with me showing up at the studio, hopefully on time. I live out in the Santa Monica Mountains, about 30 miles from Burbank and Hollywood, where I do most of my work under normal circumstances. So I show up at Nickelodeon and work on Ninja Turtles or Cat Scratch or, you know, Fairly Odd Parents, in which I played a character called Mark Chang, dude. Or Danny Phantom, in which I was a character called Jack Fenton, or The Box Ghost, beware! And I'll work there for a few hours on a show and go across town to Warner Brothers and work on a new episode of Animaniacs or Looney Tunes, or maybe go to another studio and work on VeggieTales or Rick and Morty. Fun character in Rick and Morty called Snowball, a little dog who is looking for his testicles. So if you find them, please call Adult Swim. So that's really what it's about. And if I don't have a gig, these days, I'm trying to drum one up, pitching new shows at Hulu, Netflix, Warner Brothers, Amazon, all these new platforms from which we all get our entertainment, offer lots of new opportunities for creators. And I've gotten to the place in my career where I'm still a hired gun. I go to work every day for somebody else, but now I'm starting to pitch my own shows, and hopefully one of these days I'll do that and it'll say produced by Rob Paulsen. Doesn't that sound fancy? Okay. Are there any life experiences that set you up for a voice acting, for the career that drew me to that field? Yeah, just making my soul happy. No particular experience. Well, I take that back. Those of you who have had performance experiences, you may be involved in performing at the bases, you know. It's just so much fun. And you do it for the noblest of reasons. It makes your soul happy, for God's sake. It never changes. As they say, rather, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of crudely, with a drug reference, first one's free, baby. And while I have not had experience in that realm, and I don't plan on it, but you see my point. the addiction to performing, oh my God. Once you get a laugh at 10 years old or 8 years old, and there are people out there going, I know exactly what you mean, Rob. 20 years old, 50 years old, I don't care. You're speaking at your church. You're speaking on behalf of your business at a function. You're in front of your friends on your base, doing a play, doing a monologue, singing a song. Once the hook is set, that's it. And that's what happened to me when I was a kid. So, as I said, the joy of creating has never left me. And folks, I don't care whether it's performing, working on cars. I'm a big gearhead. Motorcycles, floral arrangement, and I'm dead serious. Bowling, rugby, hockey. I was never a very good baseball player. I was a really good hockey player. Not good enough to make a dime at it. Thank God, because I got my teeth. But you see my point. I don't care what it is. But if you do something simply because you can't not do it, that's what got me here. I just can't not perform. Don't tell anybody. I just found a way to fool them for 40 years. Do most of the well-known voice actors hang out together? Yes, absolutely. I did a podcast for years, which some of you may have heard, and if you haven't, check it out. I think you can listen to them on Stitcher. It's called Talkin' Tunes, TALKIN apostrophe TOONS. And it occurred to me one day when I was frightfully bored and being stupidly non-productive, I looked at my cell phone and I said, wow, I've been on a bunch of podcasts, and I don't think you need to be an MIT grad to figure this out. And I clearly am not. As I say, I'm not a stupid mouse in real life, but I play one in TV, so I'm pretty good at it. And I started my own podcast because I thought, oh my God, everybody who's ever been a well-known voice, Bart Simpson, Homer, The Brain, Dot, Crash Bandicoot, Philip J. Fry, Bender, you see my point, on and on and on and on and on. I know these people. They've all been to my house. Mark Hamill is one of my dearest friends. Yeah, blah, blah, Star Wars, Schmar Wars. But dude, he was the Joker for 20 years. So yeah, we totally hang out. I spoke to Mark literally 3 days ago. I got to stop dropping names. Bob De Niro told me that. But still, you see my point. Yes, we totally do. And they are the nicest, most unpretentious, down-to-earth, stupidly talented people you would ever meet in your life. All they would do was jump through hoops for you all day because they would just love to see your reactions. Really, really good people. And I really hope someday that all of you get to meet my extended family, because they're just the nicest humans I've ever drawn a breath, and deeply decent people. Let's see here. Your shows have been so successful. Well, not my shows. Otherwise, we'd be having this discussion in my private jet hangar at Mildenhall. I would have my G5 parked there. Okay. But the shows on which I've had a part, I'll take that. To what do I attribute my success? I'm good at my job. But Jesus, I ought to be. I've been doing it for 40 plus years. You know what, you guys? There's this wonderful axiom. It turns out to be very true. That luck is when opportunity meets preparation. This goes back to the question about was it difficult or lonely when I went to California? Of course it was. I'm a human. I miss my mother and dad every day, and I missed them a lot when they were still around. I got to qualify that. I miss my mom every day. I miss my dad about once every 3 weeks. He would totally laugh at that because he was quite a disciplinarian. But I knew enough when I was younger to know what I didn't know. And that meant that I had to go to a place where anyone who could help me could see me. Nobody who could make a difference in my professional life, if I thought it was time for me to play in the big boys pool, big girls pool, is going to happen in Flint, Michigan, or even Detroit. As many incredibly gifted people as there are and who've come from Detroit. But when I got here, I put myself in a position to get lucky. So I was prepared. I'd had 3 years, even though I was only 22, of weekly, if not daily, live performance experience consistently. And so when I moved to LA, nothing that happened to me before or since surprised me. People say, was it difficult? Well, difficult is with a large D. What you guys do is difficult. I'm an actor. Nobody ever put a gun to my head to do this. I chose this. So at the times that I'd get 3 or 4 callbacks on a big show and Billy West would get the job, or I would not get even an audition for something that I thought I was right for because I didn't get the call. It took me about 30 seconds of feeling sorry for myself to say, hey, suck it up, dude. Whoever said you had to do this? You're living your dream. So enjoy the hustle. Enjoy the ride. So my success is due in large part to my dedication, my discipline, to work every day at it still to this day, and luck. But the luck is with an asterisk because I put myself in a position to get lucky, just like Brad Pitt, just like Maurice LaMarche, just like George Clooney. All of these people, so far as I know, didn't know anybody when they came to LA. And talent is one thing. And the opportunity, though, to use your talent where people can see you and make a difference, that's where the luck comes in. When I was creating character voices at 13, 14 years old and learning to sing in them just because it made me happy, and chicks dug it, and my hockey playing buddies dug it, they say, Rob, do that, blah, blah, blah. Can you sing that song as that character? Yeah, I loved it because I said, the hook was set. I did it because it made me joyful. Little did I know that 20 years later, I'd be auditioning for something called Animaniacs. And it's the only time in my career where I walked up to the producers, whom I knew from doing Tiny Toon Adventures together, same crew, including Mr. Spielberg. And I said to Tom Ruger, the creator of both shows, if you don't hire me for this, you're making a mistake. Because I was utterly confident, and I put myself in a position to get lucky. That's where the luck came in. The luck was, oh my God, this is my pitch. And the preparation was, I can do this. Glorious opportunity, boom, right over the center field bleachers. And here I am doing it 25 years later. So that's what I mean by the luck involved. It is a combination, an amalgamation of all of those things. Discipline, hard work, joy, and luck with an asterisk. My daughter loves Animaniacs song where Yakko sings the nations of the world. Oh my God, so do I. Do those songs just get stuck in your head like they do for us? Oh yes, they do, and thank you. Do I win a lot of bar bets? Well, I'm not really a drinker, but I suppose if I were, I would. Now Yakko, on the other hand, likes to hit the sauce up in the water tower so he can stumble around. I'm just kidding. Sorry, Mr. Spielberg, just kidding. I'll tell you what I would like to do. At the end of the thing, I'll sing the song for you, and there's also a new lyric, okay? But let me just finish with the questions. If you could do it all over again, would you still go, let's see, still voice acting, or is there another profession you would try? The only other thing I wanted to be, as I mentioned, was a hockey player for the Detroit Red Wings. I got about as far as college, had an opportunity to play in college. If I could make the team as a walk-on or a skate-on, I wasn't good enough to get a scholarship out of high school. I was good enough to get a tryout. 15 minutes in, kids. Some kid from Winnipeg, Manitoba hit me so freaking hard. Totally legal check. And it took me about 5 minutes to, go like this. So I'm sorry, eh? Are you all right? Help me up and everything. And I said, oh, God, I'm fine. He said, well, you had your head down. I did, totally. I mean, he drilled me. But that was literally an awakening. After I woke up, it was a stark reminder that as good as I thought I was, I'm not even close to these kids, and they'll probably never make it in the pros. So that was it. I still bang around with my buddies at rinks here in LA, and a lot of actors from Boston, Detroit, Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver, Minnesota, Wisconsin, a lot of us out here. So that's what I really would have done. But it doesn't matter because I love hockey just as much. And I get to play sometimes with the old timers of National Hockey League teams to raise money for charities. So I get to live both my dreams. I'm a lottery winner, and I know it. Let's see. Oh, and the other thing, race car driver. Yeah, as I said, I'm a total gearhead. If I had the money and the discipline and the parents who would have put me into go-kart racing when I was a wee guy, I would have tried Formula One. I love Formula One in particular. Open wheel car racing. I really love that. Do I have to be an outgoing person to do voice acting, or did it come out of a shell? You mean because I'm a Ninja Turtle, I'm a shell of a guy? Turtle power! Well, it certainly helps to be extroverted. However, I have a number of very successful friends, men and women, who really don't care to be on camera. So to that extent, they're a little introverted. But certainly, when you go meet people, when you audition in front of people, it helps to be extroverted and be able to sort of divorce yourself from whatever problems or anxiety is going on at the moment, because the audition process is a little anxiety ridden. You get used to it, but it's difficult to not put the cart before the horse, to not say, oh my God, I need this money. I got to get this job. I got to pay my rent, because that's death. I've experienced it way too many times, but that's going to screw up the audition. So to that extent, it's way better, like any other performance profession, to have at least a little bit of an extroverted personality. But with respect to voice acting in particular, being on camera, being too tall, too thin, too heavy, too short, whatever, has nothing to do with the job. Too old. I mean, I'm going to be Yakko again, and nobody cares what I look like or my age. So that's a big deal. And to that extent, that is a huge burden off an actor, to not have to be concerned with this. So that's nice, because that doesn't even come into play. However, your ability to speak off the cuff, be clever, hear what the director's asking you for, and not go, oh my God, I can't do it, and just say, sure, I'll try it. Even if it's wrong, you commit to that choice. So to that extent, having a certain amount of self-confidence definitely is important. But you can cultivate that, so don't let it stop you. And as I said, wait a minute, this is all about people who do it for money. Like most of us, I never started out to do this for money. I only thought maybe I can do this for money when I got to be in my 20s, because I'd had enough people say, you're pretty good. And I started to develop enough confidence to say, you know what, I think I am. But I also will never know unless I go against what I presume are the best. And so that's how you learn that. But don't start doing it, or don't do it at all with the idea of making money. You will know in your gut if you're ready to try to do that. Way different ballgame. Did I have any formal training, or did I just practice and it came naturally? Yes and yes. I did have formal training, particularly in music, learning to read music at a young age, and I'm very grateful for having had that experience, because it really served me well in Animaniacs. I think I sung a song almost in every half hour. It's a great big universe, and we're all really puny. We're just tiny little specks about the size of Mickey Rooney. You might think that you're essential, try inconsequential. It's a big universe, and you're not. So stuff like that, yeah, that was very important. When the luck resulted in opportunity meeting preparation, right? So it never hurts you. That's what I would totally say in that realm. And came naturally because of the discipline of doing it every day. I also studied out here with different teachers, different workshops, still do with friends. We get together, Maurice and I, we come up with the answers to, Pinky, are you pondering what I'm pondering? I came up with one the other day. I think so, Brain, but if Jack's black and Betty's white, is Marvin gay? Nerve! Stuff like that. So yeah, formal training, and then you just keep working at it, so it does come naturally. Again, when you're around other people who are better than you, John DiMaggio as Bender on Futurama, oh my God. That guy just sets the bar so high. Again, Billy West, same thing. Mind-blowing. Tara Strong, really gifted people, and they make you better. Okay. The final question, what should we know about the Animaniacs reboot coming to Hulu? Well, let me take a little bit of liquid refreshment. I promise, it's just water. Where do you think all that wacky stuff comes from, kids? I was born at night, but not last night. It's just water. I can tell you this. You will know in the opening theme, which you will still recognize, that Animaniacs is self-aware. They get that the times have changed, which is very cool. That's a big deal. Yakko, Wacko, Dot, Pinky, and the Brain are all back. The voice actors for them as well. Thank you, Mr. Spielberg. Mr. Spielberg is very hands-on, from casting to script approval to animation approval. I mean, to when they push the button to air it. He is right there with Hulu and Warner Brothers and Amblin, keeping everybody on track. Don't bet against him. It looks phenomenal. And as you can imagine, while the sacred cows that we could lampoon in the 90s have changed politically and culturally, oh, dude, there are so many, and we take advantage of it. It's great. It's still wickedly sarcastic. The music is phenomenal, some of which is being written by my dear friend Randy. And I am so excited. Honest to God. You're talking to a guy who's done 2,500 half hours of animation. I've won an Emmy, a bunch of Annies, a Peabody Award, and all of that stuff. All that hardware and $5 will get you a Frappuccino. It's not about that. It's about the excitement of things like this. I can't wait to unleash this much happy on all of you guys. So, yeah, stay tuned for November 20th on Hulu. I don't think you get it in the UK, but the deal come up with something, right? I know these people. Hey, Joe, let's you and me figure it out, all right? I'll ask the brain. He knows how. All right, here we are. We're at the end of my little segment. I know I've rambled, but thank you very much, Joe, DOD, USO, and all of you men and women for giving me this incredible privilege for which I've worked really hard. This makes me so happy. Thank you. Now, because you have this little earwig, I'm going to fire it up some more. Here we go. Try to get this out of your head for the rest of the day. United States, Canada, Mexico, Panama, Haiti, Jamaica, Peru, Republic Dominican, Cuba, Caribbean, Greenland, El Salvador, too, Puerto Rico, Colombia, Venezuela, Honduras, Guyana, and still Guatemala, Bolivia, then Argentina, and Ecuador, Chile, Brazil, Costa Rica, Belize, Nicaragua, Bermuda, Bahamas, Tobago, San Juan, Paraguay, Uruguay, Suriname, and French Guiana, Barbados, and Guam, Norway, and Sweden, and Iceland, and Finland, and Germany, now in peace, Switzerland, Austria, Czechoslovakia, Italy, Turkey, and Greece, Poland, Romania, Scotland, Albania, Ireland, Russia, Oman, Bulgaria, Saudi Arabia, Hungary, Cyprus, Iraq, and Iran, there's Syria, Lebanon, Israel, Jordan, both Yemen, Kuwait, and Bahrain, the Netherlands, Luxembourg, Belgium, and Portugal, France, and then Denmark, and Spain, India, Pakistan, Burma, Afghanistan, Thailand, Nepal, and Bhutan, Cambodia, Malaysia, then Bangladesh, Asia, and China, Korea, Japan, Mongolia, Laos, and Tibet, Indonesia, the Philippine Islands, Taiwan, Sri Lanka, New Guinea, Sumatra, New Zealand, then Borneo, and Vietnam, Tunisia, Morocco, Uganda, Angola, Zimbabwe, Djibouti, Botswana, Mozambique, Zambia, Swaziland, Gambia, Guinea, Algeria, Ghana, Burundi, Lesotho, and Malawi, Togo. The Spanish Sahara is gone. Niger, Nigeria, Chad, and Liberia, Egypt, Benin, and Gabon, Tanzania, Somalia, Kenya, and Mali, Sierra Leone, and Algeria, Dahomey, Namibia, Senegal, Libya, Cameroon, Congo, Zaire, Ethiopia, Guinea, Bissau, Madagascar, Rwanda, Mayo, and Cayman, Hong Kong, Abu Dhabi, Qatar, Yugoslavia, Kuwait, Mauritania, then Transylvania, Monaco, Liechtenstein, Malta, and Palestine, Fiji, Australia, Sudan. Woo! The old guy can still do it. Sorta. I'm a little bit worn out. I worked all day yesterday, so I'm a little tired, but here we go. Oh, you're wondering, what do you mean, here we go? I'll tell you what I mean. Randy Rogel, who wrote that song, the aforementioned four-time Emmy-winning genius Randy Rogel, realized that the countries have changed. The makeup of the world has changed since that song was written. So he said, hey, Rob, I got something for you. Check this out. Montenegro and Bosnia-Herzegovina, the Soviet Union is gone. South Africa, Georgia, Moldova, Latvia, Belarus, Azerbaijan, Uzbekistan, hey, Kazakhstan, hey, then the Tajikistan too, hey, Turkmenistan, hey, Kurdistan, Armenia, Tonga, Palau, Lithuania, Serbia, Kosovo, US Samoa, the Balkans, Brunei, Macau and Crimea, then Eritrea, Ukraine and Estonia, here's Macedonia, New Caledonia, Eastern Slavonia, Ivory Coast and Cape Verde, Andorra, the Solomon Islands, Dubai. Goodbye. Thank you very much, you guys. Really, really, really appreciate this incredible privilege. Thank you all for what you do. We all of us, owe you a debt that can never be repaid. But the most glorious aspect of what you do is that you don't expect that. And that really, really makes you superheroes. So thank you very much. I look forward to meeting you all one day in person at whatever con happens, because I got an awful lot of thanking to do. Take care. Thank you very much. Please stay safe. And God bless the USA. Take care.